A question on some stuff from imaginary stuff. 335. New stuff from chapter 1. Quite a few days ago. This problem has negative square root of 25 times negative square root of 36. Does that equal negative 30? Any ideas on how I could handle this question?
Break down the square roots
Okay, how do I do that?
into, you can break down negative 25 into negative 5 and 5. Or, yeah,
No, that's true. I need negative 1 and 5 and 5.
and then you can break down negative 36 into negative 1 and 6 and 6.
And what can I do that from there?
There you can break down 6 further. So 3 and
We could, but I see when I've got 2 of them, this makes 5 squared. And this one makes 6 squared. What goes on with square roots and squares?
they become what's the term? Yeah, I lost it.
Oh, I just separated the square root of negative 1 from the 5s and the 6s. When you got 2 things multiplied together, you can make it treat them as square roots times each other. The square root and the square cancel each other. This is 5 and this is 6. What's square root of negative 1?
There's 1.
No, positive 1. Square root of positive 1 is just 1. Square root of negative 1 is I. So I have 5 times 6 is 30, and I times I is I squared. I squared, though, is negative 1. Because we're doing square root of negative 1 squared. So this does end up being negative 30, and it's correct. Any other questions? Okay, so this has we're working on the relationship between current, voltage, and impedance. Current is I, voltage is V. And impedance is Z. Impedance is why does it have E and Z? Impedance is usually called resistance, I believe. They have E here for some reason, and it's not what it goes by. In general, it's called Ohm's law. V equals IR. Ohm's law. Voltage is related to the current times resistance. And so, and in electrical engineering, it is often complex numbers. So they have E equals IZ. I'm going to use V equals IR because it makes more sense to me. They have I equals 3 plus 2I. And E is V is 3 plus 6I. And they want us to find Z, which is R. So let's plug in the information we have. V is 3 plus 6I. I is 3 plus 2I. And R is R. All right, well, with this shit being multiplied by R, we can't just go subtracting threes because it's a multiplied by it. So we actually have to divide by the 3 plus 2I to get R by itself. And we're going to do the work for that on the another page. Because they want us to simplify it. This is where when we have complex numbers or radicals on bottom, we multiply by the conjugate. The conjugate is the same thing, but we just change the sign. Plus goes into minus. And we have to distribute. The bottom is easy. This is A plus B times A minus B, which turns into A squared minus B squared. In our case, that is 3 squared minus 2I squared. We'll clean that up in a second. Well, we'll do it real quick. It's actually really quick. 3 squared is 9. And then the square on the 2I goes to both the 2, which becomes 4, and I squared goes to the I as well. But we already saw I squared was negative 1. So this is 9 minus 4 times negative 1, which is plus 4, is 13. We're going to have 13 on the bottom. Still got some work to get there though. That's a lot brighter. All right, so on the top we got to distribute. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative 2I is negative 6I. 6I times 3 is 18I. And 6I times negative 2I is negative 12I squared. Alright, so. We can gather like terms. Negative 6i and positive 18i add together to make positive 12i. And we still have that negative 12i squared, but I squared is negative 1. Which means this is going to turn into positive 12 right here. And we can add it to this. When we add it to that, we get 9 plus 12 is 21. And we still have plus 12i all over 13. Now they want us to write it as a plus bi, that's the general form, which means splitting this up into two fractions. And that's it. Any other questions? Next question has 8 plus I times 8 minus I. What's up, Jimmy?
How you doing, Martha?
All right. All right, there's a shortcut here, but if you don't recognize the shortcut, it doesn't help you. So how can we go about this without using a shortcut? You bring a pencil sharpener?
Nope.
What's the blue thing? Oh,
That.
so it looked like Post-it notes and all sorts of shit. With the pencil.
Everything except the pencil sharpener. I'm just too lazy to go buy them.
Figure out a pocket knife.
I really
Just shave that shit.
It's true.
When all else fails, distribute. We've done this for a little while. 8 times 8 plus 8 times -1, negative I plus I times 8 plus I times negative I.
It's in that little shop here we learn.
What?
That one little shop upstairs, it's open, right?
Should be.
There's downstairs. It's
There's a
downstairs.
pencil sharpener at the end of the hall, like right in the front door.
Yeah, it's too far.
It's closer than upstairs. But you can fucking fly. If you can fly, then the fucking right down the hall should be easy as fuck.
Yeah, I run pretty fast.
That's not flying.
That's funny.
Right?
So 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times negative I is negative 8I. I times 8 is positive 8I. And I times negative I is negative I squared. Now these two cancel each other out. And I squared is negative 1. So I have 64 minus negative 1, which is 64 plus 1, which is 65. It's probably getting later and later. Well, at least you're here. He just wants me to say something. That's why he keeps coming later. He's probably been sitting in his fucking car for 5 minutes going, yeah, I can put it off a couple more minutes.
It's here. It's here.
Jimmy, he's not in his fucking right seat. He wanted to sit closer to fucking Drew, like, apparently.
Must be my irresistible charm.
Right? Alright, let's take a look at some of the stuff we had from last week. We had absolute value stuff. So like 2x plus 1 is less than 6. Alright, so we have it'll split up into 2x plus 1 is less than 6. And then we have 2x plus 1 is greater than negative 6. So we flip the symbol, flip the sign. When it's less than, if I change the order of this, I can put the negative 6 on the left, the 2x plus 1 on the right, the alligator still chases it. Still chases the 2x plus 1. So if I kind of like line these up, I got 2x plus 1 here, and I got negative 6 there, like that. And this is where they come up with the sandwich thing. Negative 6 is less than 2x plus 1, and this is like less than 6. So there's some overlap. Alright, so now we can solve that. Shit, I had it in there. Let's just do it. Subtract 1 from everything. I get -7 is less than 2x, which is less than 5. Now I divide everything by 2. I get -7 halves, that's less than x, which is less than 5 halves. This is -3.5. 5 halves is 2.5. There's no equal sign, so we're gonna use hollow circles. And so we would do this in interval notation like this. Or use the original fractions, -7 halves, 5 halves. All right, let's check out another one. Do the greater than this time. So the less than sounds like and sandwich. Greater sounds like greater, gives us an or. So this is going to be an or situation. We do 3, we do the original just as it is. Just drop the absolute value signs. And then we do the same thing on the left, just flip the symbol and the sign for the right. If I try to do that switcheroo thing here, it would be like this. And if I stack them, like I did up here, could I make that, can I do this? Can I still do the sandwich? I have -2 is greater than 3x plus 4, which is greater than 2. Does the sandwich still work? Why not?
saying that -2 is greater than what's in the middle. -2 is obviously smaller than +2.
That's the kicker. This part can go away. Ignoring that, since this is saying 3x plus 4 is between them. If I ignore that part, it says -2 is greater than +2, which is false. So this does, the sandwich doesn't work. That's why it's an or. And it worked up here because we can see if I took out the middleman up here. This says -6 is less than 6. And that's true. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
-6 is less than 6. -2 is not greater than +2.
Is that a check? Does that check always work?
Yeah. So let's go back to what we had here. We had them as two separate equations. Subtract 4 from both sides here. I have 3x is greater than -2. And then divide by 3 and I get x is greater than -2/3. On this side, I subtract 4 from both sides. Get 3x is less than -6. Divide by 3. And I get x is less than -2. So if we put this on a number line. -2/3 is right about here. It's -2/3. -2 is here. It says x is greater than -2/3, which goes this way. X is less than -2 goes this way. If I do this in interval notation, what do I do? It's been a little bit since we did big interval notation. Get blue. Yeah, excellent. This is why we say or instead of and. If I have some value x, let's use like if let's say x is somewhere over here. If x is here, like say -3, it's not in the other one. If X is positive 2 or 4. It's in this one, but not in the other one. So it can be in one of them or the other one, but we don't know where. You gotta pick a spot for it. The other one, it will meet both equations simultaneously. The sandwich, if I kept them separated and solved, it would meet both equations simultaneously, so it meets both, so it's an and. I don't know if that's helpful, thinking why it's 4 and why it's and. Let's kick it up a notch. Go ahead and give this a try, see how you do.
Those stores, those, that's in there.
Of the store.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were asking about a store. Like, I mean, you pointed upstairs, I think you
Yeah,
like
I
a
know.
success center.
I wasn't saying that.
What are you wanting?
That's true.
You wanted to walk over there to buy a pencil sharpener rather than using the one that's right down the hall. Let's Eric's right there.
Yeah, now he is. Wasn't before. It's my saving grace, this, the same thing.
This guy. How you guys doing? I assume Drew's working and not doing. Are you working so?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's keep going. We don't have a whole lot, we don't have enough time to start another one, I mean, I can, so give me a couple more minutes and then we'll do this together. Yeah, police officer here today. Maybe he wants to take a class on math too. Probably not. Is it overcast outside or are the windows tinted?
It's been pretty overcast all day.
Fucking, did I notice it driving to work at fucking 2:30? No. Not at all. Fucking oblivious.
Got a little windy too.
Yeah. Nice not to have these days to use the AC for works. All the windows down, so the area should.
Oh, you would have done. Pencil down, he's looking out the window. It's ready. Alright, so we got negative 4x plus 5 is greater than 5. And greater or negative 4x plus 5. Flip the sign to make the number negative. Track 5 for both spots, and I get negative 4x is greater than 0. Divide by negative 4, and I get x is greater than 0. Or
Sign switch.
you're right. Let's see if anybody said anything. That's not right. It's x is less than 0 divided by a negative. And we go to the same steps over here. And since I can't pull a fast one a second time, flip the sign. And negative 10 divided by negative 4 is going to be positive. 10/4 simplifies to 5/2. Which is 2.5. So we got 0 over here. We got 3 here. 2.5 is there. We're pointing away, so x is less than 0. Like that, and x is greater than 2.5, it still fits the or. Even though we threw in a tricky negative sign. Everything still worked out. Stop recording.